Hey, what's up guys? Opie here. Welcome back to the Brew City Garden. So it looks like I'm just about the last one to do a final update for the Straw Bale Garden collaboration series. And as I go back and I look at everybody else's videos, and make sure you check the links below. I'll link to each channel that is involved in this collaboration. Everybody did fairly well. And I think some did better than others, but overall, I think Straw Bale Gardening gets a thumbs up from everybody. I did not hear many or any complaints at all as far as Straw Bale Gardening goes, and I'm pretty sure that given the opportunity, everyone will absolutely do it again. So with that, let's just take a quick jaunt around the garden, and I'll just kind of give you my opinion on a few things and how our garden turned out versus the others. You know, I think it's safe to say that the biggest hang up that everyone had this year was the weather. You know, the spring was unseasonably cool and even into the summer. So it's almost like winter never ended. We didn't get a spring, and summer was more like spring, which is evident in the fact that I still have peas coming on that I planted back in April. So it's just really strange. But at the same time, I've got one of the best pepper harvests I've ever had, which just kind of blows me away. I'm really having a hard time making any sense of it. But as I said before, I'm not going to argue with Mother Nature. It is what it is. If she wants us to have peppers this year, well, we're going to have peppers this year. And I'd have to say, even though they're looking ragged, the tomatoes were just incredible this year. I mean, I pulled off so many tomatoes, and they're still just rocking and rolling. I really could have done a better job at pruning up these tomato plants, but you know, I tend to do that every year. You just get busy with life, and next thing you know, it's out of control. But it really doesn't seem to have too big of an effect on the harvest this year because we have got so many of these. I just lost count. I mean, pounds upon pounds. I've got a chest-sized deep freezer full of these things that have been cored and cleaned and are ready to turn into sauce. And it looks like I've got a whole nother batch, probably another 30 or 40 pounds to pull off these plants yet before we break the garden down. So as far as tomatoes go, I'm very happy with the way this season turned out. And as always, the way the Straw Bale Garden grows tomato plants, it's just incredible. I didn't know how big tomatoes could get until I started Straw Bale Gardening. That's a tongue twister, but it's really the truth. I mean, you know, tomatoes and squash seem to be the two things that you can grow in straw bales like I've never seen. Just incredible growth. Look at that. Isn't that thing beautiful? I think I'm going to make a tomato sandwich here right after this. The tomatoes, the summer squash, peppers, carrots, you name it, everything that I've planted in these bales overcame the adverse weather conditions this year and has just blown me away once again. Just another reason I really love the Straw Bale Gardening method, because even though we got a very late start on pretty much everything this year, now that we're at the beginning of September, everything is caught up and then some. It's just amazing. And if you can see all along the ground here, I can't even get back here anymore. My winter squash, my butternut squash, has taken over this whole area. And in here somewhere, I've got some acorn squash as well. And just like the summer squash, they do incredibly well. My wife was out here picking carrots the other night and accidentally harvested this absolutely massive butternut squash. This thing is a monster and wasn't quite ready. But you know what? I'm not going to get mad. First off, I adore my wife. She is the most wonderful woman in the world. And it really is a visual representation of what we've got going on under this jungle of leaves in here. So I'm actually kind of glad that I've got this to show you guys just how massive these things get. They're huge, things like the size of my head. And there are several more in here that you just can't see. So we'll see if we can do something with this. I'm sure we can. And it's not like we don't have plenty more coming. So it's definitely been a good season for the winter squash as well. So the overall assessment of the straw bale garden and just the way everything did this year, and I think all the channels in the collaboration will agree that it was an absolute success. Even with the adverse weather conditions that we had this year, I think everybody, especially the first timers, will absolutely try straw bale gardening again. And those of us that are more seasoned, we just already know what a phenomenal growing method this is. So I will absolutely never hesitate to straw bale garden. In fact, this is going to be probably my main garden method through the end of my years. And it really sucks that I got to break this down early this year. But the cool thing is I know that as soon as I find another spot where I can lay down some bales and get a little bit of access of water to, I can set up another garden in a matter of just a few days. You can't really say that with raised beds or in-ground gardens. You know, those are more of a permanent deal. They take a lot of work, a lot of structure, and a lot of soil. It's just really a lot of effort to get a garden started versus the straw bale garden, where I could just plop some straw bales down, literally season them, get them conditioned, and I'm ready to grow. So that's the cool thing. So I know that setting up my new garden is going to be very easy, and it's going to be just as successful as the garden I have right now. And with all that, straw bale gardening will be the main method used here in my Brew City Garden. I would like to thank Henry and Irene over at Brainstorm Acres channel for really kind of coming up with this collaboration, an idea for people all across the country to share their experiences and their results of straw bale gardening. Also want to thank Linda from PG Nano Farm, who shows that you can even pick up and move your bales to a whole new location and still have a fairly successful garden. Amy at Hummingbird Hill Homespun, she did a lot of great documentation of her hay bale garden, which is grown pretty much the same way as a straw bale garden. There's very minor differences, and she had just an incredible success this year and really documented it very well. So make sure you go check out her channel. And of course, Rob, the sapper gardener himself at Essayons Family Garden. This was his first year of straw bale gardening, also had just incredible success. So make sure you check out the links below and go check out everyone's garden this year. I will also have a playlist in my playlist of everyone's straw bale garden in their collaboration series this year. I also want to give a big thanks to CB's Greenhouse and Garden, who offered a lot of support, especially to the newer straw bale gardeners, which is always just a wonderful thing. It's a great community. And also Straw Bale Gardening Australia, who really does a lot to promote the straw bale gardening method, obviously in Australia. So it's just a wonderful community, a lot of great people that come together and help each other out. And we all just love the phenomenal results we get out of the straw bale gardening method. All right, guys. Hey, thanks again for joining me here today at the Brew City Garden. And thanks for joining all of these just phenomenal gardeners from all across the country in our straw bale gardening collaboration. It truly is a pleasure to have you guys here and to let us share our gardens and our harvests and everything that comes along with it. So we really love having you guys here. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. And until next time, we'll see you.